Good evening. We're at the airport, the airport commission meeting, Wednesday, June 8th, 5 p.m. We're a little late starting, it's 5:16 right now. We've got the minutes of the meeting that was from October 25th. I guess we can't vote on that, we'll have to wait until we get the rest of the quorum.
Because we don't have a quorum.
We have got to, I've got some coming, so that we'll see. Well, there's three of us here now, so.
Who is this?
This is Rob Schwartz.
I'm Sue.
And
So we're being recorded,
and we're on,
and we've just started the meeting, so we do not have a quorum, so we can't make any decisions, but we're going to have discussions.
And where was the notice given out to that it was a meeting tonight?
Over a week ago.
I was never called or emailed.
Sent an email.
why don't we just start with the Gale guys, and we'll mix up the agenda a little bit, but if we do that, we'll at least get some of the stuff we can talk about out of the way.
Alright.
And then we will be able to go from there. Then you guys can take off if you need to. If that's okay with everybody. But I want to, they'll review what the hangar and build and the proposed runway.
Thank you.
And then, how's that sound?
That sounds good.
Okay.
All right, so for everyone
Floor is
who
yours.
may not know me, my name is Nick Ippolito. I am the chief engineer with Gale Associates. I also have with me Dave Deneen, who's our business development professional. What was your title?
Business development, airport managing services.
All right. And Gale Associates is administering two projects on behalf of the commission. The first being the 6-unit nested T hangar that was constructed last year. The project is now complete and all closeout documents have been submitted and accepted by FAA and Mass DOT. Because the grant was originally issued based on construction estimates, there was an adjustment that needed to be made at the end of the project. That being an amendment of the grant for approximately 14% over the amount that was issued. The Mass DOT Aeronautics Division has sent the airport a standard contract which will cover the state's share of the grant amendment. Thank you, Sue, again for working to get that signed yesterday. Upon receiving notification from Mass DOT that the grant is in place, Gale will prepare the final reimbursement request on behalf of the airport. So actions requested of the commission, there are none at this time. Any questions on the T hangar project?
Were the people who constructed the 6 T hangars compensated for their efforts and their materials?
They have been, yes. I imagine they would have reached out to me if they hadn't been paid at this
And
point.
Gale is the one who paid them?
No, the city,
The city of Gardner paid them.
yes.
So these fees or these contributions from FAA and Mass DOT have already been made?
With the exception of the Mass DOT share of the amendment amount. And they sent over the contract for that on Friday last week. We got it back to them on Tuesday.
And has the local share been paid?
I believe so.
Okay, great.
I believe my understanding is they have to appropriate the money before the project even starts moving forward
That
at
would
a
make
certain
sense.
level.
That would-
So they're pretty well covered on all of that. Are there any, kind of saves me a phone call, but are there any guarantees on anything that needs to be fixed in the new hangars?
There's a 1-year contractor's guarantee.
Okay, and when was that started?
I would have to look
Roughly.
into that.
Okay, just give me a buzz with it because
Need new light down there.
we got a light that's out down there, and if it's a light bulb, that's one thing, but if it's an electrical problem, that's a whole.
So you warranty the work for a year for materials and workmanship?
Yes.
Okay, so that's good.
I
Specifically,
figured there was, but I wasn't sure.
yeah, specifically, I'd be interested in the motor system for the door. But some of these things are very noisy, don't sound as if they rig very well, but if they go wrong, we can't get in and out, so.
Richard, you in one of those hangars then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
number 3.
Yeah, I am too.
Are they,
My lights went out.
are any of them not functioning properly?
No, it's functioning, but they're making weird noises, like, it's not the way I like to hear a gearbox working.
But if they're not aligned,
Yeah,
or the gearbox is missing oil or some lubricant.
yeah.
Yes.
It'd be nice if there was some sort of maintenance thing where they could just come and check all these things out. Because as I say, if anything
Well,
fails.
that's
you
what
have
I'm
to have
working
the
on
hanger.
now.
Huh?
We've got other projects going, but that's
And
what
I
we're
have a
working
safety
on. No, we
question.
found
Does
out
the
about.
motor has a brake on it, so that if it loses power or whatever, the door doesn't drive it backwards? Or there's a flywheel brake, anything like that?
Those sound, all those things
Unfortunately,
sound
I'm
like simple
not-
fixes.
Yeah, I'm just curious, because there's a lot of weight in that door.
I would
And
imagine
typically you
they
have
have something,
a
yeah.
brake that engages and disengages if the motor's powered.
Right.
Like a manual or something.
Right.
Perhaps we can take a
There's
look.
one in there.
Yeah,
After
I
the
mean, you can
meeting.
find a spec.
Yeah.
And that'll fill in a lot of the.
Any other questions on the T-hanger project?
Pardon?
Any other questions on the T-hanger project?
Was there no information left on the motor, on specs or?
You know, there's an
There
envelope
is
of
Yeah, I'm
information.
sure I have
User
that.
manual.
Check that out.
But I'm familiar with structures that are telescopic, and usually there's a brake so they don't collapse under gravity.
Right.
So it's in-
Yep.
Yeah, I can look into that.
Okay.
So I'll follow up with you
Okay.
after the meeting.
Yep.
And the second project is the reconstruction of runway 1836. That includes complete reconstruction of the runway, installation of new runway and taxiway lights, signs, and markings. Also included is the installation of a new airfield electrical vault and runway end identifier lights. I've given the costs associated. They're not estimated anymore. Those are final. The total grant amount or the total project cost is $5.38 million with a local share of $134,500, which equates to 2.5%. Mass DOT has agreed to pick up the additional 2.5% in addition to their 5%, so $403,500 for the 7.5%. And then, I don't know why I didn't update that number, 90% will be covered by the FAA to the tune of $4.842 million. The current project status, obviously the design is now complete. Bids were opened on April 27th, 2022, and the low bidder, J.L. Raymaker and Sons, was announced. Their bid price was $4.63 million. We have since prepared grant applications for both federal and state funds to complete the project. Those applications were submitted on April 29th of 2022. FAA and Mass DOT grants should be issued sometime between now and at the very latest September 30th.
20,
Yeah, it says 30. It should be 30.
It should be 30
okay.
of this year. That coincides with the end of the federal fiscal year, so they would have to have it issued by at least that date. Upon issuance of the grant, Gail will coordinate with the contractor and determine a construction schedule and circulate the contracts and notice to proceed. So actions requested of the Commission upon receipt of the federal and state grant offers, please sign and return them to the applicable agency. Any questions on the runway project?
What are they proceeding, the construction?
Well, we can't even enter a contract with the contractor until the grant is in place.
Which is September?
So, that, anytime between now and September 30th at the latest.
We're waiting for the government to issue the grant.
Right.
And the time frame for the runway, once we get it going, how long will it be down?
Depending on the timing, it'll be down for 90 days.
So 0 days?
Yes,
From start to finish?
correct.
And
You
will it
don't know
also
when that-
include the new outside perimeter lights?
It's the
Yeah.
runway lights
Runway
and
Runway.
and taxiway.
The outside, the three location lights.
Those are not being
Okay.
modified as part of the project.
Will that prevent use of the grass strip on the east side, on the west side, excuse me?
I wouldn't plan on using it,
We're gonna be shut down.
because it's gonna be technically closed.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
airport
note 'em
will be
down.
located-
There'll be a
For
notice,
the,
right?
for the
Yes.
period of time, but I will, that's one of the reasons why we wanna make sure we've got everybody's information,
That's a lengthy
so
process.
that you'll have plenty of time
To get out.
to get away from
Now,
here
that
and
being
find
said,
someplace to
if
go.
someone did take it upon themselves to use a grass strip, we are not allowed to stand in front of an airplane and say it's not to go. It's up to the pilot.
This is,
but I think that from the standpoint of what they're gonna be doing, because they're narrowing the runway, I think they're gonna chew up a lot of stuff on either side of it. And there's not much room for a grass strip right now.
Needless to
So-
say, if they did land,
But,
and they couldn't get across to get fuel or anything else, they're kind of
Yeah.
screwed.
That is correct.
so it'll be no doubt, completely.
what did you say about narrowing?
They're narrowing from 75 feet to 60 feet.
Why is that?
It's somebody's magic formula, I guess,
Yeah.
came up and said because of our use, what comes in and out of here
Caravans and all the other stuff?
is,
It's to help the
So it's the
crossways.
largest aircraft that makes 500 operations a year.
Oh, really?
yeah,
So unless you have something larger that has 250 arrivals and departures every year, your design aircraft.
So you're saving 10, 15%?
But if the city ever wants to get commercial flying here or anything like that, something heavier,
no,
part of your economical development, you didn't argue that?
it wouldn't, here again, like you said, 500 cycle, or?
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
and so that narrows it down. I know a couple of airports that they've done that too. You have to be a good pilot and handle it.
No weaving.
Yeah, but my understanding was that they're gonna try and solve the problem with the cracks, so that we can go 30 years without having to rebuild it again. And I am, encouraged.
absolutely.
So,
So if there are no other questions on the runway project, I just have one other note.
yep,
And that is the recently passed bipartisan infrastructure law grants the Gardner Municipal Airport $159,000 each of the next 5 years. Those funds may be used to fund capital improvement projects related to the terminal or administration building. At the airport's upcoming CIP meeting, this will likely be a discussion topic. So if there are any upgrades needed, and I think we can all agree
We can
there
agree.
are,
We've got plenty of
Yep.
upgrades.
we can certainly add those projects to your CIP and get moving on those as well.
Now, does the town have to pay towards that too?
There is a local share.
Yep.
I believe it's gonna be 5%.
So there's gonna be 159,000 each year for the next 5 years.
That's
That's correct.
This would be a bathroom, right? Accessible bathroom.
Through.
well,
You can
there's
just
a lot of things
fuel
we
those
have to
years, get the
discuss.
money you need, and then
What's the most value?
Yeah.
What's the most value and what's the,
Those values
Right.
in this place.
so we'll be able to discuss it and work on that.
Is this an additional thing or a rebuild thing?
This is additional to what the airport typically gets.
Well, the
Structure.
no, the structure could be
Oh,
anything
yeah, it
we
could
put
be
together.
a new building, it could be a renovation to an existing building.
It could be this structure right here.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yes.
But
Nice
we've got
if
to
it was
make it
different.
right. But
He's saying bigger.
there's a lot of things that enter into that. So
Yeah.
we need their help and everything else with the engineering and all that sort of stuff, because the mass laws are really tough on construction now.
Right.
That's awesome. That's really great news.
So,
They built some really nice airport buildings in the last few years.
and so we will bring that up. That'll be coming up.
Can I get a
for the
copy
next
of that?
meeting.
I didn't get it.
Absolutely, they're in a folder right on the desk. Oh,
We got a couple of these here. New guys that came in. You wanna send them down, 3 or 4 of them.
And if everybody could sort of sign the yellow sheet. That's a
Sign the
sign
yellow sheet
please.
so I know who's here.
Would you mind if I borrow your pen again? It's right there.
I got another pen if you want
Yeah,
it.
sir, thank you.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry, I grabbed mine back.
and that is it for the engineering.
Huh?
That's
And
it
then
for my
you're all
update.
set?
Yep.
If you're interested,
Okay.
I took some video of the building going up in the first train over a few weeks.
Oh, Jim Morrissey.
Oh, that's
Fantastic.
It's been a long time.
So,
I think I'm really trading it, let's see.
I do believe we have a quorum.
Yes, you now have a quorum.
We now have a quorum.
So,
More than that.
who,
Nobody likes sitting in front of the camera, huh?
Well, here, I'll move up front.
so for those of you who've just joined us, we are recording the meeting. We have not made any decisions or taken any votes because we didn't have a quorum. Now we do. We can move forward with that portion of it. Gale Associates have given us their update. I don't know if you gentlemen are planning on staying, or did you want to be excused? If you have, okay, okay.
Thank you.
Andy,
There, please, there.
All fun.
that's it. I'll give you the Gale
By the door.
update, Andy. Okay. So we'll go back up to the top of the meeting. We need to approve the minutes from October 25th, which was that the last meeting that we had?
That was the last meeting, yes.
Okay.
Did,
I don't have.
so those of you that I sent an email to, which obviously there's at least one that did not get the meeting notice, I did include with that the minutes of the meeting. And I thought I brought a copy of them. A few copies here, if anyone would like to see them.
Is it for everybody or just the city people?
Actually, the commission members, sorry, are the only ones that can vote on it.
So we just gotta,
So, where did that other gentleman go? Oh, moved.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was looking for you back there. I would have given you one of those, but,
we weren't.
We need one of
he wasn't
those
at
up
the
here.
He wasn't at the first meeting. I was at this meeting, I believe.
I don't think it matters.
We need one back?
Yes, please. A non-commissioned member. Oh,
Thank you, Gary.
thank you. So, Mr. Nickerson, you're not a commission member, correct? Okay. So you don't need to vote on this?
No.
Okay.
That's it, quickly.
I think Ken did the minutes on this one. I don't think I was at that meeting.
I forget which meeting you were at. Oh, I met you at one of the meetings here, but I thought it was in December or in January. But,
Whilst you're discussing distribution of information about meetings, is it possible to get copies of intended meetings for tenants rather than just the selectmen?
Certainly.
It's not-
Anybody else need a copy of these minutes?
Yes,
All right.
Are you looking for a,
I'll motion to approve the minutes. Jim?
I'll second it.
Okay, everybody in favor? Or any discussion? Any discussion? No? Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And anybody opposed? Passes, minutes accepted. Okay, the old business was the taxes to be paid by renters. Technically, the airport commission and the city of Gardner doesn't have anything to do with that, is the problem. The city solicitor, I believe, has advised everybody to pay the taxes and decide on a way that you want to fight it, or whatever. I don't know what, I've got a few back channel things I'm working on, but I haven't had any luck yet. But I don't have any authority either. So, we'll have to just figure out what the best way to do it is, but it's the town of Templeton and their tax collector that is the person that I guess is making the decision along with their legal department or something. I don't know how far it goes.
Has the Gardner Legal Department contacted them?
I do not know, but
So
he
the
said
Gardner
that they
Legal
have to-
Department says that the tenants are obligated to pay.
So I already wrote to
Yes.
Templeton once. The tax bill says 0 square feet, and in my entire life I've never paid tax on 0 square feet. That's
So,
property tax.
Yeah, property tax. Two, they speak of recorded deed. We do not have a recorded deed. We have a rental agreement in the city of Gardner.
so,
Now, there is a provision in the law if you rent something in an airport, etc., except for public use. We are part of the public.
okay, so I have the email, I believe, that you sent
Yes,
to Mr. Flick,
to the gal there, yeah.
and, or, well, actually, maybe it's not you.
If it's Anatole, it's me.
I don't see that it's Anatol, but there was a question about how the law read, and our counsel said that they believe that the individual he was emailing with misinterpreted it, and he states simply that we have to pay it. I don't believe that this form is a discussion for that.
Okay.
Our legal counsel says the tenants have to pay it. There's nothing for us to discuss because we can't make a decision not to pay it.
Of course. I
So-
understand that, but I
Yes.
am following up with another
You
I'm gonna send a
absolutely,
registered mail.
absolutely.
As I said, the bill says 0 square feet. And under no circumstance should any citizen of any state of any country pay tax on something that is 0 square feet.
I understand.
So they have no right to do that. Now, it may be an issue between the two towns, and I don't know what kind of agreements the city of Gardner has relative to the entire airport on Templeton grounds. Whether you have
What
a-
we need to find out was what was the contract between the two cities when the airport was built.
That's right.
And there's got to be FAA
Yeah.
and state.
I
rules
contacted
about that.
AOPA also,
Yeah.
and they didn't have any conclusive or useful information so far.
I don't think it makes any sense. Taxes are typically paid by the owner of the property
Yeah.
being taxed. I have renters in structures I own, and they don't pay any taxes. I pay the taxes.
That's right.
I pay taxes on the hangar I have here, that's because I own it, but people who are renting those nice structures down to the south there
Well, then.
are paying rental fees, and so the owner of those hangars is, I assume, Gardner. So that would be my
And that also
very
brought, yeah.
simple comment to
So I-
Gardner.
So back to the original agreement about this airport. It may be 100 years old, I don't know, what year was the airport built?
1927.
And I would think the lease agreement
None
that
of
the
that
tenants signed, I assume, to take on these hangars would have specified whether taxes are part of the deal.
Right, I think the only thing that
They
I've
do not.
seen.
It does
Well,
not.
they should have been, if the lease had been written properly.
The only thing I have seen in the agreement was there are taxes for personal property. So you have to be careful with that. And I think those are, I've seen in other agreements.
What personal property? The planes?
No, planes are,
Buildings.
I'm not sure, but it's, you know, if you brought in a
Anyway.
stove and a bread and a bed or something into the hangar, which you shouldn't be living in, but
It doesn't
you
make
wanted
any
to have
sense.
Depends
something
on your
like that,
marriage.
that's
It
considered
makes no
personal
sense.
property, that's something you would take out.
Excuse
But
me.
where this came through as property tax. So
So
it's
they
completely
didn't
different.
build it. So have they got the right to charge the tax? Are they paying ground rent? Are we paying ground rent for this
That's a
space?
good question.
I don't think so.
Jim, are you paying taxes on the T hangar you hang out in?
No.
What's the difference?
There's no difference.
Excuse me, Sue, do you have a copy of the rentals agreement? that-
I do not with me.
Yeah,
Could
I-
that be provided, and we can look over it and then determine that?
That's why
we
we'll
can
have to
up the
have-
rent to cover the Templeton's taxes, and that it can be paid by the airport commission or whoever the payments are made to.
So the airport commission is not going to,
no.
Pay
We have
for
no.
Or
no
the city of
jurisdiction.
Gardner.
no, the city's not gonna do it.
Who paid, where does the money go from the rentals of the T hangars?
It stays on the property because we're a enterprise fund.
Okay,
So we keep any monies that we earn,
okay.
and we use those monies to improve the airport or for airport projects. So some of the money that goes to these things, but we have, of course, we exceed a lot of the money that we do spend when we do the hangars and any improvement. So the mayor has to make an appropriation or request appropriation from the council to be approved. So and that's part of all of the new projects that come up. The council has to go through that whole process, allot the money, so that they can move forward.
But if the
Because, and,
But if the renters are paying the airport to do it, and Templeton wants the taxes, that whole thing about renters not paying taxes, but the owners of the place pays the taxes, I'm sure we could get that written in, and that would then appease the tenants as well as appease
We
the
have
town of
to-
Templeton. That's something that we can work on in the next coming months.
it's something that has to be handled legally
Correct.
Absolutely.
with a lot more horsepower behind us
Yeah,
than
yeah.
what the commission has. And we can't discuss it at this meeting.
Correct, so
Particularly.
let's table that and go on to what we need to go on to next.
Sorry, And then there's a lot of stuff going on here. If they build anything here at all, is it gonna get taxed by Templeton?
Yes,
Because it's not grandfathered in, or it is grandfathered in, or what?
the structures on this airport, at least the one I'm involved with, are taxed by Temple.
But that's taxed from a different level.
It's taxed, and the tax goes to Templeton. There is,
Right.
in addition to that, a lease fee for the area that's covered by the structure, which goes to Gardner.
Correct.
Ground rent.
But you own that, you're a property owner.
That's right.
There's a big difference between a
Yeah.
property owner
Correct.
and a renter.
Correct.
Correct, so,
That's the bottom line.
And that's what I'm saying is that this has to be discussed.
I believe there's some agreements between Templeton and Gardner.
right, so it needs to say, the new commission needs to read this paperwork and go over it and see what it is.
Well, there's agreements, we have to find them, but there's,
Yeah.
for plowing roads, for the disposal system, you know,
Correct.
there's a lot of them. I know what the precedents are, but.
Because the last threatening note said they're gonna lien something. I don't own the property, so they're gonna lien the city of Gardner property?
I don't know.
Do you have any of that?
It's gonna be an interesting
Yes,
process.
it is
but
interesting.
We've started to gather stuff, and I've looked into some of the stuff, and I haven't been able to get
Can you
the
email that
information
to
that I
us?
need.
So I
I'm
can-
sorry?
Can you email that to us so we can? see?
Sure, I'll email you my previous email, and I will email you what I'm about to send them. And I was gonna send a registered mail so I have a receipt.
Yeah.
Okay, if you would, please.
But I
I'd like
think
a
if
copy
you-
of that.
Yes, by all
I
means.
think whatever taxes do get paid, if we can resolve it, they will probably reimburse, but I don't know.
Well, that's a risk a renter takes. I pay the tax, I'm waiting for the government to give me money back. You know, it doesn't happen very frequently.
Well, once a year.
You know,
So once the money is gone, it's gone.
the only other thing I would recommend to the commission is that you should really reach out to MassDOT and sort of get their take on this, because most of the airports, all of the owners of leasable space do pay a property tax, but I've never heard in my 30 years as a manager of airports that renters have had to pay a personal property tax.
Yeah, because I don't think most of them have
Which follows the
personal
norm of
property.
any property.
That's right.
I think most of the time, if you're, if you're like Dominic with a business running here, there would be taxes for he's leasing the hangar.
There's an
but
exception in the
it's-
law.
It's exception in the law, but.
If you repair airplanes, you don't. If
Yeah.
you use primarily for repairing airplanes, you don't pay the tax.
That's
But
true.
there's property tax, because I know with my
True there,
business,
too.
I've had them for years, they send me, you know, because I have an office space and all that sort of stuff, they collect a property tax, which is separate from the personal property tax, they call it, instead of
Okay.
property
Send it to
tax.
In,
So,
in equipment, same with my business. They came in this year and they assessed all my equipment in my business and taxed me for it.
Use tax,
Yeah.
lovely.
well, I use personal property.
Yeah, that I've already paid taxes on to buy it.
That's
Paid
correct.
taxes to
Hey,
maintain
this is
it.
Massachusetts,
And
come on.
paid taxes to own it.
And when you sell it, you gotta pay.
Pay taxes again.
Oh, yeah,
So, well,
it's round and round.
so we will look at this.
Yes, yes.
Without information, I can't say. So hopefully Susan or Ken can provide us with new information, or I should say, the old information, and we can look at it, and then go to the town temple and say, hey, whoa, hold on for a minute before you do threatening things.
Right.
And let's all work together to get this resolved.
Absolutely. What I'm asking is, now that you have my email address and my yellow attendance sheet, send me your contact information so that I can,
I'll just give you one of my cards,
okay,
okay?
then I will send it to you. Yeah.
And we'll get to the bottom of this.
The only
Okay.
other question I have is whether or not state airports have specific rules about kingdom limitations.
We can look into that and.
Yeah.
It
There's a
also
special,
goes
there's a
into-
special tax code for airports, yes.
Yeah, there's a
Yes.
federal, that's a lot of federal law.
But also Massachusetts has a
Yeah,
special
it's
provision.
usually dovetails.
If you rented at an airport for profit, if you repair airplanes, you don't pay tax, etc. I mean,
Yes.
I read it 3 or 4 times.
Right, but I'm wondering if there is some global thing about airports that
we-
restricts other people charging for stuff they
I
didn't
think
build.
that there's,
Right, we can
this
look into it.
discussion has to be based on facts and backed up so that we can, and that is requiring a lot of homework. And I think that's where we've got to go.
Absolutely.
So let's,
So can we get done?
we can move on to the next, so we'll table that article and it'll probably come up next time. But we'll try and get some information and get it out to everybody. That's why I wanted sheet so that I can have everybody's information. Yeah, good, thank you. Under new business, we need to elect officers for the commission. Chairman, I don't know if there are any other positions that need to be designated or how we can do it, I don't know. Personally, I'd like to see a couple of officers that could, you know, a chairman and a
Vice chair.
something second command, so to speak, take over when somebody's not here. But other than that, I think the secretary supplied by the city will be at each meeting or thereabouts. We record it so that the minutes can be recorded and processed and put into the correct format, and then we can go on from there. And so, anybody want to be chairman?
I'd like to nominate Jim Wood as chairman of the Airport Commission.
I'll second that.
Third it.
We only need two.
Well, I'm going for him to be chairman, and I'd like to be vice chair.
All right, so wait a minute, you have to vote on,
We have to vote on this first.
Was it tough?
God, boy, my wife is gonna regret that.
You got nothing better to do, Jim.
Yeah, right. This is my third job. Okay, we'll take a vote on it.
all in favor,
All in favor?
Aye.
all opposed?
All opposed?
This is,
I'm gonna abstain. Okay,
So voted.
so voted. So
Does somebody want to nominate the vice chair?
I would entertain any offers or candidates for vice chair or something, just so that there is, you know, some backup to the
More
system.
than entertained to do it.
It has to be nominated and seconded.
So,
As a non-resident, can I nominate this
No.
guy who seems, no, thank you.
it has to be from the commission.
Commissioner.
Well, I'll nominate the gentleman who's sitting to Jim's right, and his name is Schwartz.
Yeah.
Is
Robert
that correct?
Schwartz. Robert R. actually, because my
Robert.
father was Robert J.
Robert
And he's
Schwartz.
in Gardner politics big time.
He's,
second that.
Any discussion? Those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Correct?
Yep.
Robert R.
Okay, meeting time, dates, times. What's the discussion? We need a little discussion on whether we want to have a meeting on a regular basis, or do you want to make it
Random?
random or whatever? I think with the projects coming up and I think everything that's going on, probably would be, my recommendation would be at least monthly.
I would agree.
But I want you guys to decide on that.
Ken Bonk, to keep this place running and moving in the right direction, headed west or something, do you have a recommendation, 6 a year, 12 a year, what do you think?
We used to try and have one a month. Yeah.
We didn't specify the day because many of us were traveling, so, but most of the commissions will specify a day during a month, and I don't know how that'll work for this group.
Well, I think the one a month is certainly a possibility as far as I'm concerned, so,
Yeah, I'm for it.
and,
Just pick a time and a date and make it happen.
Anybody have a good day of the week that works well for you?
Monday gets a lot of attention. How about the first Monday of every month, or the last Monday of every month?
Last Monday of every month would work. First Monday of the month is taken already.
Yeah, council meetings are on the first Monday or Tuesday of the month. The second, first and second?
Not sure.
I think and if there's anything that needs to go up to them, they need a few days to put together an appropriation or something like that, so they can come up to the council, so. I don't know if there's any
The last
precedent or anything that says one way or the other is any better, but,
About the first Wednesday of every month.
That would be equally fine to me.
that's basically what we're at right now. That's
At a
fine.
minimum,
Huh?
but at a minimum, the first Wednesday of every month. But as we have special projects going on, we may need to meet more than.
More than often, but, yeah. Any more discussion?
So our first meeting will be July 6th.
So you might wanna think about that, only because it's a big vacation week. For some people, I will not be available, but someone else might be available.
That's fine.
Okay? I don't need to be here, obviously.
All right,
Um,
6 PM?
Well, that's the next piece of the discussion would be, time.
I prefer 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock?
Anybody else?
I would, for me. I guess then I'll have to make it work.
Okay.
6 o'clock
So the suggestion is the first Wednesday of every month at 5 o'clock. Is that what we're hearing?
Right, and, you wanna make maybe any allowances for holiday weekends or anything like that?
Well, you're on a
Holiday.
Wednesday.
Holidays
Well,
over on-
Wednesday's pretty much we're in the middle of the week.
It's back to work on July 5, right?
Yeah, for most of us.
Yeah, I'm
Even
working.
Even be retired, I end up that way.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's strive for the first Wednesday,
Yep, put it in right now.
5 o'clock.
I'm okay with that. Yes, sir.
Let me, check something here.
Over part. There you go.
I will be in Brunswick.
My schedule has changed a lot in the last few months. I'm not too quick on the computer, so I gotta, let's go with that and see what happens. What's the minimum requirement for a meeting? Is
I
it
could
half
excuse
or
myself
is
for a
it,
minute. I could cancel my meeting.
is it half the board, half the commissioners,
I
or what do
believe
we need
it's,
for a quorum?
it's more than half, just over half. So
Over
there's
half.
7 there, it has to be 4.
4,
That's correct.
Okay, that's, not really up to speed on all the rules, been a while. Okay,
50% or more, is that the quorum?
It's generally 60.
60%.
Yes, sir.
okay, the beacon lights. We got 3 of them. 2 of them are out, 1 is on all the time. I went down the road of trying to find, I've got a company that put them in 10 years ago or so, and I've contacted them, but I also contacted the state to find out what Mac had to say about it, and he said, well, you know, with GPS, we don't need them. And I said, I don't know, they didn't flatten out any, but at any rate, he was checking with the FAA whether they are going to continue to maintain them, or whether they require them, or whether they're going to decommission them, and I haven't heard. So I kind of, that got put on the schedule because I thought I'd hear by now, but I haven't heard anything from the FAA on that. And
These are the lights to the west along that ridge?
yeah, there are 3 of them. One Mr. Kozlowski's house property, one at Wilson's property, and one at the end of Cottage Lane in Templeton.
Thank you.
And the one on Cottage Lane, I don't know why that one's not working, and that's why I originally called, because I know some of the guys have come into the airport when the light was on, and that signaled where the end of the runway might be on that end. But, so I'm waiting to hear on that, and now that I'm at the chair position, I think they will more readily get back to me. But we will work on that. Any discussion?
My opinion is they're a fairly recent addition to this old airport. They came in with maybe those fences out there.
No, they were here a lot sooner. They were updated.
20 years.
They were updated from
12 years ago.
Yeah,
I
okay.
think that's something what I said. But anyway, they, in keeping with the beacon, or the rotating beacon behind us, I just think they're part of the airport infrastructure. I can't imagine why we'd want to do away with them.
Well, my thing
I
is
believe
that,
he's talking about the hazard. Whatever beacon you have on this building is totally different. You're
Right,
talking
but
about the red
I'm
lights.
talking about the red lights
The
that
hazard.
indicate the highest
Terrain.
point within a certain, and they have a very specific plan that they use, where they stand on the center line of the runway, and anything that encroaches on, what is it, 3 degrees? 3 or 7?
7 out there.
Off of
7
the
off the
side,
side.
7 to 1.
7 degrees has to be lit within, how many,
What is the state requirement, is it 1,500 or
50, yeah.
Well, at the end of the runway, it's a ridiculous number.
yeah, it goes out. I mean, like all the
Cut
two
the trees down.
GPS approaches we have to each end now, or one end, to the south coming in, which is predominantly when we have bad weather here. Literally, I'm within a quarter of a mile of the top of Mount Monadnock, is where the approach starts. And so it's an interesting dynamic, but when they're coming into the airport, they allow us to drop down to 16 or 18, 1840, I think, is the lowest altitude. And we have to be clear of clouds at that point or we can't come in. And that is probably about 200 feet above the hill. So it's,
That light is at 1,200.
right, okay. I
The
don't know what the
one
top
on
of
my
that-
property.
Yeah.
That's on
I
the
don't know
map,
all
it
the
says
dynamics.
1,200 feet, dead even
Okay, at the top?
at the top.
Yeah. And so you add 200 feet to that, so you have 1,400 feet for the minimum clearance, and they usually have higher than that sometimes on the approaches, but it's a non-precision approach. Whereas the GPS approach is non-precision too. They have a circle to land. So, I don't know, I'm waiting to hear what the FAA has to say about it. And then we are gonna have to pay to have them fixed. Yes.
The light on my property's been out for 35 years, so I don't see any need for the airport to have it.
So how come it's been out?
I doubt it's been out
What
for
happened?
35 years.
I don't know,
No.
Bunk. Why?
I don't know, I just wondering.
Why are you asking me that?
I don't know, well, you're close to it.
Why is the other one out? We got 2 of them out now.
Yeah.
Why is that one out?
It's an infection.
Well, we're going to...
Number one, the one on Cottage Lane is next to a house.
Correct, yeah.
No, it's
Wilson has a nice little light also. Mine is dead center in the woods.
Yep.
There are kids, there are hunters, there's anybody that wants to go up there and screw around with that light.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know what you're trying to say, Mr. Bunk.
But we're
Because
trying
you sent
to...
somebody up, you sent 5 guys up my house accusing me of shooting a plane. And I'm kind of pissed about it.
Oh, well, I'm sorry about that.
Did you name anyone else other than myself?
I didn't name anybody.
We have to...
We just.
No. Somebody named one person, because I asked the FBI. Anyone else named? And they said, no, just you. So, and they said it was you.
Okay, well,
So
It's not,
don't try to get out of this one. That light's been out for a long time, and as far as I'm concerned, there's no need of it.
Okay.
I'd love to see, if you have to light it, to go solar.
Well,
Doesn't the FAA
that's
decide
your
that, not
opinion.
you?
Okay.
Excuse me?
Doesn't the FAA dictates what required is not
Well,
required?
if they do, nobody's reported it for 35
Well, that
years.
happens
So I don't
also.
see the point in having it.
But when it comes to safety, there is
There is no safety
statute
in the
of
last 35 years,
Hear me
pal.
out for a second. There is no statute of limitation for safety. If they missed it for 35 years, that's an omission. But it has to be inspected and somebody will decide if it's necessary or not.
well,
Not you
it
and not
was,
me. It's a
when-
regulation.
Well, let's just say it would behoove you not to screw around anymore.
the,
Either
that
get rid of the
light
light or go solar. I don't want it hardlined up there.
the light was, when the light was replaced, it was working.
12
Okay.
years ago, well,
It
there
had
must
to
have
be
been
working.
excuse me, there must have been shoddy work because
Well-
it didn't stay lit very long.
We're trying to, we're gonna, I'm
Okay,
waiting to
yeah.
hear from them, because if if we have to go up there to, fix it, we gotta figure out what happened to it and why. And that's all I'm gonna
I would love you
do.
to decide to go solar.
So,
It would
if-
make up things a lot easier.
Well, the
Because
amount of
I really
electricity-
don't want that path opened up again.
The amount of electricity that it takes to run one is a lot less, because they're all LED lights.
But we're in the
But-
21st century almost. I mean, give me a break. Why not go solar? What's the big deal? Why are you being so hardlined about going,
Ken,
not going
Ken,
solar?
We have to meet the FAA
The
specifications.
FAA, I've already looked it up, have solar lights that they approve.
Right, and so we have to, I don't know.
Nick,
If I may, the FAA has approved solar lights, but the legislation on funding it has not come through yet. So at this time, FAA does not fund solar
Right,
lighting systems.
yeah.
Well, when I looked up, Nick, it was half the cost of sending up wire and all the other stuff you gotta do. All the wiring and everything else. I believe they ran it around $10,000 to $12,000 and it was only 5 to 6 to put a solar thing up.
Yep, I agree. I've been patiently waiting for them to start approving.
And this is why I'm going to the FAA, and Mac has gone to the FAA. So I want to let them make the decision. I just want to, my goal was to find out why, if it needed to be repaired, to repair it. If it doesn't need to be repaired, or doesn't need to be done, then we'll decommission them, if that's.
Well, I also looked up there, what's your first name, sir?
Jim,
Jim. That light, once it went out, was supposed to be reported to the FAA within 24 hours and fixed in 5 working days. Now, in 35 years, it ain't worked.
well, it worked
So,
12 years
tell
ago.
me about who hasn't been on the job? Who's been slacking here?
It's community, bud. Change tone. It's community. This is people.
Huh?
This is people. This
No,
is
I
people.
think it's the commissioner's fault for not reporting it.
Well, the commissioner is now retiring, and now there's a new commission taking over.
And who's the new commissioner?
He-
Well, you were.
Jim,
Excuse
and,
me?
me.
and myself, and the rest of the.
This is a
You're
commission.
pointing around.
just
I don't know everybody
We
here.
just elected that a few minutes ago.
I was
Yeah, but
just
I don't
elected
know
as chairman of
the
the commission.
Who's Dave over here, please?
Dave Urquhart is here.
Right here.
He's
Oh,
new.
you? Oh, okay.
Dave Urquhart, Robert Schwartz, I'm Jim Wood. Jim Morrissey was on the commission, but a long time ago, Andy Girton, John Lavoy. Kenny was on, he was chairman for a lot of years. Same with, we had,
So,
So-
bottom
but-
line is.
bottom line is,
It should have been acknowledged and it wasn't.
Right.
And so somebody is acknowledging it now and moving forward. You
now that
can't
it's on
cry
the
over
agenda,
spilled
we're
milk.
gonna move
But
one
again,
way or the
it was
other.
against the law that you didn't do it, and
Yes, it was missed, but there's no statute of
It was
limitation. It was missed, it was negligence, it was act of God. Now they recognize the deficiency and they're gonna follow the law to correct the deficiency.
How about not following the law because you hadn't done it for 35 years and leave the damn
This
thing
is what
out?
happened in the past. We're moving forward, and they want to make it
Would you like to
compliant.
make me happy?
I don't know who you are, but you know this is.
So,
That's not the
We're-
world's, that's not the world's intent.
can I ask you why you have a problem with it having hardwired all the way to the light?
I just don't want it hardwired.
It doesn't cost
Because,
you
well-
any money, it isn't anything out of your pocket.
That's true, but you gotta
Okay.
clear the whole damn thing. I'm a tree farmer.
Yeah.
You gotta, and I don't like clearing it either. Plus you destroyed my stone walls there, you never repaired them after.
Okay, well, this isn't.
I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. You left an old telephone pole there, there's still cables in the woods there.
Okay,
I mean,
well,
it's
you
just
haven't brought-
an invasive species when you brought in hay bales from wherever. I just don't want you people there anymore. I'm
But
kinda
I
tired.
believe this was your father's land and it was given to you, correct?
Nothing was given to me, pal, I paid for it.
The,
Well, I don't know all the history, sir, so I'm just trying to learn what's going on and how we can go forward in making this
Go
all work.
solar and you'll make me happy.
well,
Don't
we'd have to,
hardwire.
we would have to have solar panels to do that. And
Well,
it
they
would
have
to
them
be
for stop
approved,
signs, they got them for everything.
Hey, we just heard that the FAA has not approved solar. so
because the amount of voltage
we
is
should
needed.
not
The funding
continue
for
to
the
waste
solar,
time.
correct.
It has to be
funding.
compliant, and
So,
Let us look at this first. Why don't you email me all your concerns?
I don't have an email.
Okay, you can write me a letter, I'll give you my address and send it to me, or come to my shop. And you and I will sit down and we'll work on this together. Okay, because I don't know who
Well,
you are,
we
and
gotta table it right now because
We'll work on
there's nothing I can do, nothing we can do
right at this
at
moment.
this moment.
Okay,
But-
so as soon as I can see all the things and what's going on, then we can go from there. It's that easy.
Okay, we took care of the runway construction. I've gotta go out, I'm gonna go out and buy a Knox box. Everybody know what they mean?
Yep.
No, what do they mean, Jim?
They have they go on the outside of the building, they have a key in it, or they have a universal key that the police and fire departments in both towns will have. And inside it will be the keys to enter the building and to possibly the gate key. I would recommend
Yes.
the key to the building, a gate key, a code key
Yep.
for the codes,
Yep.
for the gate and for everything, and be placed in that Knox box.
Yep.
Technically, we're supposed to have them by regulation or
question,
whatever.
does having a single break, illegal break into the box give you access to the entire airport? Does that affect insurance of airplanes? Anybody
No.
knows?
No, it's generally a local requirement by the fire chief. And technically, I'm sort of surprised, Jim, that the fire department is not issuing you a Knox box.
I don't know where
You
they
should
come
go-
from. I'll have to check with Gardner to see how they've done it. Like, the only person I've talked to is Templeton.
I would,
Because we've had a round of discussions on the heat detectors in the building here. We have some that are 30 or 40 years old anyhow.
Jim, I'm pretty sure the
So-
Knox box on
but-
my building, now that I know the name of the thing, was provided by the airport, the fire
Fire
department.
department?
yes.
And
Okay.
that's where they go to get in the building.
In my experience, up in New Hampshire at least. the fire
So that's
department
required by the
provides
fire
those.
department?
Yeah. And they'll have a key, they have a standardized key for all the Knox boxes that they issue around the community. And then in those Knox boxes, they've got keys for all the buildings. They'll come up with basically a map of all the buildings and access points to get in. They'll probably want to do a detail and talk about what types of materials are in these buildings, understand
Right.
a little bit more about fuel and oils and
Most
I'm
of them
surprised
are
that
pretty
they
standard.
require a fire extinguisher in every hangar too.
This place is not sprinklered. It surprises me the
Yeah.
fire department would concern themselves with this.
A lot of airports require to
Well,
carry a fire
That may be
extinguisher.
the next requirement.
Yeah.
Well, that
Yeah,
would
it's a-
be any major, it's over what, 7,500 square feet, I think.
Yes.
So I don't know if we quite qualify for
I
that.
don't think you do.
No,
I have an emergency,
okay,
Will we turn that off and get it to you tomorrow?
I'll take care of it.
he's gonna take care of it.
Okay. So we're going to,
Thank you, Sue.
thank you,
Go
Sue.
around this one?
Yeah.
Uh,
I'll just go this way.
Okay. I think that I'll check into the fire department here. I haven't done it because I've been in and out of the station, but I was on other business and I didn't even think of it. And so I'm gonna try and get that put on outside the door here, which is gonna involve, Dominic said he was gonna put the screen door on, but so wasn't John, so we'll get that on too.
Does that include the individual hangars in Building 10?
We were not going to include those because there's so many of them, and those lots, like on my hangar, it changes, and it's separate.
If they had done those hangars consistently, there should be a master for all of those
Master for
locks.
one key for all locks.
That's right, that
And each
overrides.
individual owner has their own key.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So is there a
We
master
have
key?
multiple keys, and
I don't think so.
Man, my Knox box at the last airport I worked at, it was stuffed.
yeah,
A lot of keys.
and we have a location here where all the keys are kept on the
Yes.
secure. So whether it's, I don't know, I'll have that discussion with the fire department to find out if we should put all the keys in there, or just they have access to all the keys in the building. Obviously, if this building's on fire, that's not gonna make much difference, but if it's someplace else on the airport, they should be able to access the keys to get into them.
But I mean, my
Huge.
recollection here is that when we moved into Building 10, you had all the keys for the 10
Yeah,
buildings. right?
and,
So is that still gonna be true, that somebody, I can call up and say, I've locked myself out, can you bring me your key?
I'm pretty much the one that's coming down here to do that.
So you're
Just
gonna
carry
so-
extra keys.
You're gonna have a
I
box
carry
of
one in my
keys,
pocket, one in the car.
Well, I won't be carrying them with me, I'd come
No,
through
no,
here
no,
to
for the
grab the
building,
key and go
yeah,
down and
yeah.
take care of it.
I rode the bumper of the fuel truck, that's what I used to do.
One master key.
Yeah, well,
No.
we haven't got a fuel truck. We got a fuel farm, but that's all. So, probably carry over, and I'll tell you at the next meeting when it's done. And then we can keep working on it, but I'll see about that. Airport manager. I don't know, Sue, I don't know of anybody who's even applied, but I've heard some names bandied around. Anybody hear anything different? Because we can get there was a lot of discussion around having a manager that's working part-time at multiple airports, and therefore making a living by going from one airport to the next.
If they're pilots, it's not bad.
Wasn't Kevin
Put it-
interested?
Huh?
Wasn't Kevin interested?
Kevin did it for a while and was on the agenda. Right now, Sue put her name on there because there was nobody on the airport commission. We hadn't had a meeting, and in order to get on the airport commission, my knowledge of it is limited, but to become a manager, you have to take a course with the state, pass a test, and be accepted into learn the secret handshake or whatever it is to get into it.
It's not that bad.
No, they said most pilots who fly can probably pass the thing without any problem.
Yeah, it's really just understanding the CMRs of the state.
Right.
Do you know of any other airports that a manager serves more than one?
Around here right now, no. Everybody's sort of in their specific locations, but I can tell you that you're not alone from trying to figure out a manager. There's probably 5 in the state
I
that
first
airports are looking.
in Idaho, that was out there.
Yeah.
Manager had like a 2-hour drive between each airport, but they'd serve 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, back in the day, yes.
That doesn't sound very ideal from our point of view.
Well, here again, we fill in at the commission level. We're filling in the holes and the blanks and all that sort of stuff. And I've lived my whole life working 24/7. And I'm not always available, because if I do take a vacation, I'm gone. But the position right now was scheduled to pay $25,000, which obviously won't work
It has
in
to be
this
a
day
city
and
of Gardner employee,
and they're a city employee.
but they have to be residents in the city or not?
I don't believe they have to be a resident, because that's not a requirement.
Sounds like a good
They're not
retirement job.
Gardner did not elect to have that happen. I know cities like Boston and Worcester do have the requirement.
It might be a contractor.
And,
Manager might be a contractor.
yeah, and there might be a contract employee. But the other thing is, that was brought up by one of the tenants here, do they need a CDL and a hydraulics license? It's not mentioned on the,
Well, CDL, what's
Do
that?
you have a full job description by any chance?
Are you talking about heavy vehicles or something?
You don't have to give it to me now.
okay, I'll have to look, I have a copy of it somewhere.
Certain amount of
Okay.
weight.
Sounds like a good
I just,
retirement job.
Oh, the vehicle.
Vehicle, but for the hydraulic, it's anything, any type of lifting over 10 feet. You have to
and we
get-
have the front end loader, which is a 545 John Deere,
Yep, you're required
which
to
is
have
huge, and we have,
for the hydraulic license. CDL, it really depends on the municipality and whether or not they require it, on whether or not it stays on property or if they go out on the streets.
right, and this,
Can we practice?
all of this stuff is on the streets. I mean, on the property
Yes.
all the time.
Yeah.
And
I'll have a go.
so
So the manager.
we gotta sort that out a little bit, and then see if we can get anybody who wants to be manager.
So the manager will be doing the snow plowing?
Whatever. Helping. He doesn't do it all. The only one I know did that was Bob Terrell in a pickup truck.
Yeah, that's all we
Had
had.
no heat.
Yeah,
I just head out the window.
Yes.
yep.
Yep.
So that's one thing. Okay. The next meeting we've already tentatively scheduled. Hopefully the contact information you there. I'm sorry, I'm old fashioned. I will probably call. Yeah, I like to get, yes, I'm gonna try and make it, or whatever. But
Can't Sue do that with an email?
Huh?
Why can't Sue do that with an email?
I think she did. She said she did.
And everybody.
I don't know. She said she'd contact everybody. I went out just now and called everybody,
Yeah.
just to see where we're at. Phil couldn't do it because he had another commitment, but, I wanna thank you guys for coming in. I mean, Sue and I were sitting here at 5 o'clock, and the Gale Bay people were here, and Mr. Kozlowski was here.
And we all know different individuals and people, and so with respect to this manager idea or this issue, I'm at least gonna spread the word among those that I know, and
Yeah.
maybe in that manner, somebody might pop up as
It's,
possible.
like I said, it's to be the backup for a lot of the stuff that,
Yeah,
and
there
to
are all
handle
these-
a lot of the stuff.
There are
I
all
mean,
these requirements.
it's like the door getting put on,
Yeah,
you know, and it's the, Ken Johnson, who owns a plane here in RV, he has been this winter, he was here all the time, and he grabbed a shovel. And he shoveled away from most of the doors on the property. And boy, I'm telling you, that was such a big help. I mean, we had this thing down to a science. We could clear and get this place back open again in less than 4 hours. And consistently. Now, we didn't have a blockbuster winter, but we've got the equipment. John and I are working on getting the maintenance and stuff on the equipment structured and organized, so we know who can do what needs to be done. We need to buy some stuff, so we're working on that. There's many things. I don't know if there's any other subjects you guys want to tackle as far as new business or things that we should work on.
I can make a comment about snow clearance, which I think has been done incredibly well and coordinated until all the snow fell off on the north side of our hangar. We got a 12-inch high bank of solid ice with over an inch of water in there. Turns out there's leaks around the end. And since we discovered this, now we're plowing right against the wall and it's fine.
I do a lot of the plowing around the hangars now
and I also,
with my own truck,
nominated.
because my mirrors don't stick out too far and I can reach out the window and fold it in, and I can get really tight to the hanger. And I've had to replace a couple of panels on the backside of my hangar when somebody would hook it with the plow and took 2 panels off, and I wasn't gonna leave my hangar open for very long. So I fixed it right away. But that's one of the things that I do when I go around the hangar, and I try and make sure that those hangars are ideally built because they get the morning sun and they get the evening sun.
But there's a downside to that because the snow melts off on the south side and
But it
creates a huge
it
pile.
doesn't have
It would be
a
island
south
otherwise.
facing
Yeah.
as much, so it's a good location. Mine's on the
Yeah.
south facing, and I get enough snow build up on the top because the winds come out of the
Well, it goes
northwest,
that way, yeah.
and they put enough weight on it so I can't even open my doors.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
but that's just a fact of, you know, I get my roof rake out and I stand in
Jim,
there.
are you asking if there's any new business, is that?
Yes.
Is that your question? All right,
Any new ideas or things that we gotta work on?
well, since there's a quorum here, go ahead, sir. Nick, is it?
Yes.
You want?
I just wanted to make sure that there was a second form that Owen from Mass DOT sent out. And now that we have a chairman and a vice chair, you may want to coordinate with Sue, but there needs to be an authorized signatory. I know for financial matters, it's the mayor.
Right.
But for certifications and things like that, you may want to each fill out that form and send it back to Mass DOT. I'm sorry.
Payment vouchers.
Payment vouchers as well, yep.
And where do we stand with the renters and their payments? Everybody up to date?
No,
I don't know.
I've got mine in my bag. Well, that's right. Nobody's going back.
So it's
I'll have to drop it over.
certification for,
That authorizes the chairman and whoever else that the chairman elects to sign documents on behalf of the airport.
It's strictly, you can just do a quick letterhead, you can do a letter on city letterhead and send it to MassDOT with the authorized signatories for the airport.
okay, yeah, that was sent out with the thing Friday, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay, I've got a copy of that. Can that be restricted, is that restricted, or can the mayor have a choice on that as to what is authorized to be signed for?
Absolutely.
Because I know Sue says, no, you can't sign anything. I'm hoping this solves that problem, being chairman. But I will approach the mayor and talk to him about it and go from there.
Thank you.
That's good.
Okay.
At one time, I would sign monetary part of it to everything.
Right,
Now
but
it
I
goes
don't know,
through
I
the
think
mayor,
that's
but
changed.
There's other stuff, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, but there's a lot of other stuff.
All right, Jim, listen, you're asking for new business. I have something I want to bring up. You know about it, probably. And that is that the gentleman who has been working here in this building under Dominic's aegis for some number of months, there was a tiff, and basically Dominic and this guy who is a tenant in my hangar got into a tiff, and there was a little bit of violence. The police were called,
That's more than a tiff.
and a number of personalities that are involved in the airport think that this guy should be asked to leave the airport. And I just don't think, since we have a quorum here and everybody's sitting here and we have a commission present, it just seems to me as though instead of avoiding the subject, we ought to touch upon this. And I know Ken probably agrees with what I just said, the former airport chairman, and so I want to bring that subject up. The guy's name is Eric, and he has now been banished from this building. He's no longer in this building, functioning and working with Dominic, and I just want to know if the commission should maybe toss this around a little bit in a succinct, if possible, fashion.
What's your thinking about it? You didn't suggest either way.
My thinking is that it should not be ignored. We should address it.
Did the two men address it with each other?
No.
So
Well, that's the
Well,
first step.
They did from some parts of it got resolved. But he is, like I say, I think legally that the only person that could ask him to leave the building now, there's some discussion around that, was that he could get them to, whether it's a restraining order or something like that, had to go, could come for the business.
So you're saying,
But the public property is a little dicier.
so you're saying the commission has no authority over this issue, is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that necessarily because I don't know the answer to that. But I think that there has to be compelling information or proof.
Now, I heard from Ken that in times past, subjects like this have come up, and he had to deal with it in times past as the airport commissioner.
Right, and so, I don't know what legal
Oh, we
is
got
now, that I
everything
can go to legal and see what they
Fighting,
say.
shooting.
I think the rules around restraining orders have changed. They've gotten a lot
More flexible?
flexible, I guess is the best way to put it. And that I don't know how, but where it's public, this is public property, period. And that's one of the things that
So
they
if
have to
it's
be very
public property,
careful.
why wouldn't the commission have the authority?
Well, we can, but I'm not sure whether we, and if you guys say we want to pursue it any farther, we can.
Well, my opinion, I don't know, this guy's a fine mechanic, and I've known him for years, but I've seen him lose his temper once, and it seems as though he's got, once there's a valve or a switch thrown, he is out of control. I've seen that once.
Yeah.
So is he a danger to the public?
I have no idea.
Well, then that's something the commission should not take the responsibility of dealing with somebody who's unsafe.
I'm not saying.
I'm not saying he's either, but
I'm saying the subject came up, it happened here,
Yeah.
and
Because the commission would be liable, the commissioners individually will be liable if something happens. I'm not saying it will, but if God forbid something happens again, the commission is liable individually.
You have to be able to document it.
Yeah, there's all kind of legal
There's a
procedure.
whole procedure that you gotta follow.
I think you should
And
have
it
pieces
can only
done,
be-
done.
And that's why henceforth, why the police department was called. Because that's a much more reliable documentation than I said, he said, she said, whatever. Because to me, it makes a difference that way. And you can't trample on anybody else's rights, but if you're gonna be taking something away from somebody, you've got to be careful. And whether it's banning him from here or whatever, I don't know. But it requires legal documentation and a way to do it.
So when
And
did
I don't know
this,
what the answer for that is.
when did this happen and what happened?
Well, that's a discussion we can have off camera.
Right.
oh, you're saying it's inappropriate to discuss it in this?
No, I just think that we don't want to violate his rights.
Yeah.
And we don't want to,
That's something should be done in executive session,
yes,
because I know nothing about it.
but,
I feel as though the
right,
commission-
and that
I
would
know
have to
nothing
be
about it.
that way. And I don't have the information that we need to do that.
Well, I want to avoid, I just wanted to make sure we didn't sidestep this thing and just ignore it.
No, we're not,
Okay.
but I
That's
think
why I
we've
brought it
got
up.
to, yeah. It would have to go into executive session where we can openly
there's a-
discuss
there's
And
it.
then will we be able to talk to both
Because we're dealing with
parties?
somebody's life, somebody's future,
Right, but,
and legal and citizens' right.
yeah, so you have to be careful, and I respect, the rights of everybody, and I want, so, we can go from there.
Just will we also be able to talk to both parties?
Can't tell you that now.
The one guy lives in New Hampshire.
Can't,
I have no
can't,
idea who
There's
is.
criminal record.
We're done with the
Police
discussion
report,
on it right
file
now.
suit,
We
there's
have to be.
all kind of issues.
okay?
Yep.
Anything else? Yes?
Talking about flying, my name's David. I just want to make a quick introduction. I fly a paramotor. I teach people to fly paramotors, and
Sorry, what's a paramotor?
a paramotor, some call it a butt fan. It's basically a backpack.
Oh, the
Yeah.
backpack, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I get to strap a motor to my back, have a glider
Start
behind me,
running.
run into the sky. Amazing field here, found it online, fishing for places that aren't gonna piss off the neighbors, and it seems like a great spot for that. Real important for me is not pissing off the pilots that call this field home.
You carry a radio or anything?
Absolutely, yeah, carry an aviation radio. So I met Mr. Bonk initially. He came up, met me at the field while I was staring through the fence. He came up, said hello, was very welcoming. Said we'll have a meeting at some point, and connected. And yeah, I was invited here to come and just sort of say hello, get to meet the people. But I'd love to be able to fly here, fly safely. People I teach to fly. It's really important that everybody I work with comes out with a really great curriculum. But for me, what I like most about this is you have a really long runway. For me to do trike launching and doing some trike work, it's phenomenal for that. Not a ton of outs, so it's not a great place for flying for what we do, but just for doing a little bit of pattern work, small motor, get up, fly pattern, get out, even working on taxi work when we're here.
Yes.
Always a crosswind, remember that.
Yeah, but he could land on the 60-foot runway and stop.
Right.
Less than that.
Without power.
Yeah, exactly, yes.
We have had a trike flying in and out of here over the few years ago, but I don't know. There are requirements for insurance and things like that you have to protect you as well as us.
If I'm doing business here, if I'm flying here privately, there shouldn't be.
No, I mean, we're all required, if we own airplanes here, to have insurance that covers us on the airport.
To be based, yeah.
If you're based
Right, but
here.
if I'm not based, if I come in and fly out of here,
Right.
there should be no,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
paragliders
don't know.
I've seen over the years, from time to time, people come in, they set them up, they fly, they leave, and I've seen it more than once, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Becomes a great link for me for flying from, Fitchburg, Sterling, just kind of decent cross country.
How many airports do you fly out of now?
Oh boy, got a bunch.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a spreadsheet that's
How about around here?
around here, Fitchburg.
Okay.
Fitchburg with that cross runway shut down, there's a big open patch of field. Great for us because we can take wind any direction there now.
Yeah.
And it's good for trike work as well, but there's enough traffic that it's not
I
as
was
well.
gonna say, it's kind of dangerous with the traffic getting
Yeah,
it down.
we're always on. If I've got students in the air over there, I'm on radio.
Yeah.
And again, over there, there's not, because I'm not keeping stuff on site, it's not.
Same type of thing,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't keep anything here?
I trailer in equipment and trailer it back. My tenants are used to me backing down a long driveway every day. Yeah.
Okay.
You fly in the winter?
The last 2 winters I've snowbirded thanks to COVID. I had an event production company, but COVID put social gatherings on hold, so I went to Florida. The school I learned to fly at was looking for instructors, so I learned to teach down there, and 48 years old I became a snowbird. And, so I have ski gear. I'm not excited to use it because manipulating fingers on brake toggles. You guys have cockpits, and anybody fly open cockpit or?
Long time ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's cold, even with heated gloves, it's cold.
Quickly.
Exactly. I mean, the nice thing is we're not thermic, so we get longer days when there's ground cover.
Are you looking for a place to have your school and to use your training?
If you had hangar space, I'd be most excited to figure out a way to call this a regular home.
Okay, well, I'm just listening to you about you have students and you have this and that, and then you talk about, doing this privately. Well, you're not doing it privately when you have students here, so.
Right.
So
If
this
I were to
is,
bring students here. Right.
correct. So I would think that if you would give us a portfolio or something of your intentions and what you're looking for, it could be beneficial for both of us.
Sure.
Or not, but needless to say, we need to know who you are, what you're doing, how you're doing it, and go about this on the right way.
Right. Yeah, first and foremost, I'm a Massachusetts resident flying Part 103, so yeah, first and foremost, I'm looking to fly here. That's right up front for me.
you give us all your information,
I have,
and what your plans or your intentions. And
I don't think, is there any documents that need to be signed or anything like that? Do you know of
For
anything?
him to operate here?
Yeah. Or basically, because he's not based here.
Do you fall under
I
any
don't
federal
really know.
rules
It's a
as
public
far as the
airport.
school?
Yeah.
It's part one.
I
Okay.
think that would be up to the
No,
commission to let
It's
him
just me flying.
Yeah.
It's part 103, so it's open access, it's municipal, state and federal.
Are you related to the town of Header activity?
I have friends who fly over there.
Yeah, because they're
no.
doing something very similar.
Yeah.
you fly out of Barry?
I have not, oh, is that Tanner Hill?
Town of Header.
Tanner Hill.
Yeah, yeah. I have flown out of there once. I got off the ground and the rain started, so I made my first downwind landing that day. Downwind landing stinks when your feet are your gear. But yeah, one flight, dragonfly thing was cool, doing tows
I was
there.
gonna say, they do a lot of
Hang glider tows.
There's
hang
an awful
glider
lot
and
of
that
towing
type of thing.
and
Yeah.
sliders, yeah.
I've been in and out of there.
Well, the big thing about that airport, of course, is they've got an absent owner. The Chinese have quit, or they're trying to sell it.
Someone told me it just sold.
Recently?
Yeah.
I spoke to somebody 2 weeks ago, so maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing if they did.
Steve Grady, who lives right there, was my instructor.
Okay.
And,
Yeah, I mean,
know
it's the
he's
beauty of
been
what I
picked up.
fly is we can foot launch in pretty much any open field, but
Yeah.
we land on our permission. Municipal airports, it's kind of open use, tax and federal dollars coming in. So for me right now, most important for me is just get access to the field. That's what I'd love to come away here with is, and okay to get access to the field to fly from here. Once I feel it out flying individually, if it feels like a good fit, honestly, for having students at someplace like this, when I look on Google Earth, it's not a great prospect for me to have students here because there aren't outs. I want a field that's going to give me a half mile both ways minimum if I'm going to put first time students up to fly.
Yeah.
Eventually, if I have students who have graduated from my training, graduation from me is 25 flights. You're on your own. You're launching and landing without comms with me. At that point, my students, I may extend it if it feels like a good fit. But again, LZs are really good. LZs are really hard to come by in what we do, and people who find them are really protective of them. We build relationships, and we do everything we can to not let anybody know about the places we find to fly from.
Yeah. So we got a lot of trees around.
Yeah.
And water.
Right.
And
Right.
either one can be bad, because that anchor on your back is gonna
Well,
be.
water's the number one killer of people who fly what I fly. But
Yeah.
to mitigate that, over the last few years, a lot of people have started the sensible.
Quick
people fly.
release.
We fly with power floats. So if you go down in water like the Coast Guard wears, so you go down in water, they auto-inflate. My buddy Mike takes it a couple steps further. If he's flying over any open body of water, he'll release all straps but one leg strap. So if he were to have motor out, and again, what's the one thing I teach every one of my students? The one thing in every student's head, always have an out. You guys do the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
You don't leave an LZ until you know you can make the next out.
You don't want the engine catching you up, do you?
Exactly, but we get a glide ratio of 6-to-1 up to 9-to-1.
So I'd like to know if we can answer his questions here. His questions
Any
are,
more
can he
discussion?
fly here?
Yeah.
Right.
Any more discussion? Any other questions?
I've seen a lot of paragliders flying here from time to time over the years.
Yep.
Have to get him a
I don't see a
badge.
problem.
Huh?
Have to get him a badge so he can operate.
Yeah, technically we should, but he's not gonna be based here, so.
I do have a badge, I think, waiting for me at the desk at Fitchburg.
Yeah.
I need to
Maybe
grab
that's
that.
what they
It's a
do, I
mass,
don't know.
mass access badge, same badge?
No, they're airport by airport.
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay.
I pay for one.
I move that we let him fly here. How about that?
Okay,
I
second?
second it.
I'll do it.
Can you get access to the door, get in and out if you wants to go and get lunch somewhere?
We can work on that.
And are there any other businesses for this commission and this meeting tonight? That's my next
I
question.
don't have anything. I assume this is a yes vote for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay. We can go from there. Okay, then I would say that we are done for the most part. If there's no other new business or old business to discuss. 6:40, and we're out.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Well done, guys.
Thank you very much.
Commissioners, I know.
Nice meeting all of you.
If anyone has any
Good to meet you,
questions about the
Ken.
runway project,
You too, Dick.
I left cards.